It's a dark Monday morning, 8 a.m. in the office. Our developer starts his day by opening up his favorite IDE, IntelliJ, in which he recently installed a new plugin called WatchDog. First, the developer registers himself as a new WatchDog user. In the registration process, he enters details like his email address, the organization he works for, and his programming experience. And as we see on the right hand side of the screen, the developer already received an email that he's registered with WatchDog. Now he fills in details about the project at hand, such as does it use JUnit, does it use continuous integration, and the amount of time that he thinks he spends on either testing or production code. Our developer works in a project that's developed from both Eclipse and IntelliJ. To install WatchDog for Eclipse, he simply goes to our project website TestRoots.org and drags and drops the Eclipse Marketplace icon into Eclipse. He can then recycle his already existing user and project ID from IntelliJ. Now, WatchDog silently runs in the background and records and analyzes any development activity in the IDE. To understand how WatchDog helps developers, let's take a look at an example development workflow. We're looking here at a method called makeDurationHumanReadable that takes in a duration and converts it into a human-readable string. To do that, it uses a thing called a period formatter that's fairly complicated to set up. At the moment, we lack a test for it. So let's create one. A good starting place to test would be to test for the duration that is 0 seconds long. So let's have that as our expected value. And let's feed makeDurationHumanReadable with a duration that is 0 milliseconds long. It should return 0 seconds. So let's execute this. Indeed, it worked. Let's take a look now at what WatchDog has collected so far. In the chart on the upper left hand side, we see that most of our short time in the IDE was spent reading rather than writing code. We also have a substantial amount of other activities than reading and writing code, like for example setting up the test. We also see that when we did work on code, it was mostly test code with 95%. And we had one successful test run so far that was extremely short. We haven't actually tested all that much so far, so let's create a few more tests. After 1 second, we can maybe test for 1 hour. And if we test for 1 hour, we need 1000 milliseconds times 60 seconds times 60 minutes. So let's also create a test for 2 hours to catch the plural there. And that did not work. Why did it not work? Alright. So we should also give it a duration that's 2 hours long. We still have a problem. We don't actually get hours, we get 2 hours. So let's see if we can fix that in the production code. Go into our period formatter and there it is. It should be hours, not hour. Let's re-execute the tests. Our WatchDog statistics have automatically been updated in the background, and we see that we spent more time writing than reading code. We also see that we took no time to apply the production code fix of the bug, and we see our 2 failed and successful test runs. We can also change the interval that these statistics display via this drop-down list. Today's been a long day for our programmer, and when he looks at his watch again, he suddenly realizes that it's 9 PM already. But what has he been doing all day? Well, his aggregated development report tells him. From this report, he can get insight into questions such as, how much of my working time do I actually spend on developing? Only half an hour each day in this case. Do I follow my company's QA policy of devoting at least 25% of my time to testing? And pathetically yes, with 44%. How often do I execute my tests? 3 times per day. As a personal challenge, our developer likes to employ test-driven development whenever possible. He's in fact the number 2 test-driven development guy in our whole dataset. Last but not least, our developer likes to compare his metrics to his fellow programmers. He can certainly improve in his efficiency, but his testing values are very good. Satisfied, Our developer closes the IDE and rushes home.